I used to be a licensed clinical therapist at Pacific Northwest Behavioral Health Center in Seattle, Washington. That is, until I handed in my resignation last month. You can refer to me as Dr. Emily Carter if you'd like. Though my colleagues mostly called me Dr. Carter during my 15 years there, I've encountered just about every mental health condition imaginable in clinical psychology. Major depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, PTSD, dissociative identity disorder, and all forms of trauma that the human psyche can withstand. But the story I'm sharing now is about the single case that shattered my beliefs about consciousness, memory, and the essence of human identity, and it ultimately drove me out of the field for good. Pacific Northwest Behavioral Health Center is a full-service psychiatric facility catering to the greater Seattle area and nearby counties. It's a state-of-the-art complex constructed in the early 2000s, featuring dedicated units for inpatient treatment, outpatient counseling, and long-term residential programs. The center serves around 12,000 patients each year across its various services. In my role there, I focused on trauma recovery and dissociative disorders, mainly treating individuals with histories of severe childhood abuse, war-related trauma, and intricate psychological issues needing extended, intensive care. The case in question started on a rainy Thursday afternoon in March 2023. It was one of those typical Pacific Northwest spring days where the air hung thick with moisture, and dark clouds loomed over Puget Sound in the distance. I'd been in back-to-back sessions since 8 a.m., and by 3 p.m., I was eager for my final appointment and the upcoming weekend. My 3 p.m. slot was a new patient intake, referred by Dr. Michael Hayes, from the Emergency Psychiatric Unit at University of Washington Medical Center. The referral details were surprisingly minimal. Adult female, about 28 years old. Discovered wandering in downtown Seattle 3 days prior, with no ID, and no recollection of her arrival. She'd been medically cleared at UW Medical Center. No drugs, alcohol, head injury, or signs of physical harm or assault. The initial diagnosis pointed to dissociative amnesia, potentially linked to trauma, though no specific incident had surfaced. The patient had been cooperative during her assessment at UW, but she insisted she had no memory of her name, background, or anything before being picked up by Seattle police near the Pike Place Market. At 3:05 p.m., my receptionist, Sarah Thompson, tapped on my office door. "Dr. Carter, your 3 o'clock is here." But heads up, she didn't bring any paperwork, no insurance info, no ID. The hospital forwarded her records, but that's it. "Did she complete our intake forms?" I inquired. She attempted to, but most fields are blank. Name, address, contacts, health history, all of it. She says she can't recall any details. I'd handled dissociative amnesia before, though it's uncommon in everyday practice. Most memory issues stemmed from physical causes like injuries, strokes, or neurodegenerative conditions. Purely psychological amnesia, where trauma blocks memories as a defense, is rarer and often short-lived. I headed to the waiting area to greet her, and right away noticed her odd demeanor. She sat motionless in a standard chair, hands clasped in her lap, gazing forward with utter serenity. New patients, particularly those with memory gaps or trauma, usually display nervousness, bewilderment, or agitation. This woman seemed almost in a trance. She looked to be in her late 20s, with light auburn hair in a neat bun, dressed in simple khakis, and a blue blouse that appeared high quality but unlabeled. Her posture was impeccably straight, like that of a soldier. When she met my gaze, her eyes locked on steadily and unblinkingly. "Hello, I'm Dr. Carter," I said, offering a handshake. "You must be, ... double quotes, I don't know," she responded plainly, gripping my hand firmly and assuredly. "That's presumably why I'm here." Her tone was precise and eloquent, with a faint accent I couldn't identify. No wavering, no doubt, nothing like the uncertainty typical of profound memory loss. We proceeded to my office, and I observed her deliberate, observant stride, scanning the corridor's doors and building layout methodically, not casually. "Sit wherever feels right," I suggested, indicating the options. I always let newcomers choose to foster a sense of agency and comfort. She selected the seat facing my desk directly, settled with flawless posture, and awaited my lead. No shifting, no uneasy looks, no inquiries about the procedure. It felt like she'd been through this routine countless times. "I'd like to begin with the last clear memory you have," I said, retrieving my forms and notes. "I recall awakening on a park bench near the waterfront 3 days ago. It was dawn, around 6 o'clock or 6:30, judging by the sky. I was in these clothes, but I don't remember donning them. No possessions, no ID, no idea of my path there. What did you do upon realizing your memory lapse? I remained seated for about 2 hours, attempting to retrieve prior recollections. When nothing emerged, I wandered the city for familiar sights. Eventually, I approached an officer and described my predicament. Her account was strikingly structured and vivid for someone in alleged severe amnesia. She narrated with the detached precision I'd use in a professional case discussion. How do you feel about the memory void? I probed. It's intriguing, not upsetting, she replied. Others anticipate fear or sorrow, but I view it as a riddle to unravel, not a loss to mourn. That reply was my first real flag. Amnesia patients usually grapple with intense emotional turmoil over lost identity, bonds, or history. It's deeply unsettling. Her composed acceptance clashed with all I knew about trauma-based memory blocks. Any memory fragments, dreams, or déjà vu? Since then, no specifics, but I've kept skills and facts. I can read, write, calculate, math. I grasp advanced ideas and words. I'm fluent in at least 3 languages: English, Mandarin, and perhaps German, though no learning recall. Which feels most innate? She pondered briefly. All equally so, as if acquired concurrently. But sometimes other tongues hint at familiarity. Phrases I can't fully grasp. Over the next hour, I ran a standard EVO: cognition, memory, emotions. Her results shown high IQ, vast vocabulary, sharp reasoning. She handled intricate math mentally, retained session details flawlessly, and solved problems indicating elite education. Yet autobiographical queries: family, childhood, tastes drew blanks. Any inkling of your profession? Given my aptitudes, likely analytical, research, data processing, or evaluation. Preferences: foods, music, pastimes. None strong. Hospital meals. Anything sufficed. No biases toward any stimulus. Another warning: amnesia often spares emotional reactions to things. You dislike jazz without knowing why, but the feeling lingers. She had 0 preferences. As we progressed, discrepancies mounted. No past recall. Yet her conduct hinted at therapy familiarity. She preempted questions, sat like a pro, used psych terms expertly. Ever in therapy. No memory, but the process and jargon feel known. Why do you think you're here? To discern if my amnesia is physical brain issue or protective trauma block. Her grasp was spartan, usually needing sessions to explain. I switched tactics. Word association. Childhood: nothing. Mother: nothing. Father: nothing. Home: nothing. Hospital. Pause. Evaluation: what type? Unsure, but it resonates. School. Training. What kind? Patterns: blank on personal emotional words, responsive to analysis, testing professional ones. If I suggested you're faking, how'd you feel? Her calm shifted subtly, not defensiveness, but intrigue. A valid theory. What's your evidence? Post-session, I sensed complexity beyond simple amnesia. I booked bi-weekly follow-ups and ran advanced tests. Results: top cognition, flat emotions, deep psych, neuro knowledge, no trauma signs, no vigilance, anxiety, sleep woes. Trauma, amnesia, usually leaks distress. She had none. In session 4, I confronted, your case is unique in my 15 years. Total amnesia, no typical symptoms. What implies, you know your identity and purpose. Long gaze. Intriguing. What do you seek? Your true name, bench story, fake amnesia motive. She smiled, oddly knowing, not warm. Dr. Carter, what if your views on memory, identity, are narrow? If consciousness, identity, are malleable, philosophical, but evasive? Fine. I'm Dr. Sophia Reyes, PhD in experimental psych, from MIT, specializing in memory, consciousness. I work at a lab studying atypical neuropsych events. What lab? 1. Probing cases defying norms, shared memories, unexplained skills, persistent consciousness. Why the Amnesia Act? I volunteered for a trial suppressing personal memories temporarily, testing if pros spot real versus induced amnesia. I reeled. So, artificial amnesia experiment. We were unwitting subjects. Yes, but studies halted for debriefs over hours. Sophia detailed. She was at the Center for Mind Studies, backed by GovTech firms, exploring unexplained mind phenomena, past life claims, inherited memories. Her trial: drugs plus brain stimulation, blocking personal recall, mimicking trauma amnesia. Aim: refined diagnostics. 40 pros nationwide involved unknowingly. Ethical horror hit me. This breaches consent. Agreed. Studies ended. Memories back. Wearing off oddly not linear, altered quality. Then troubled. Some memories aren't mind-verified events I never lived. Procedure side effect. Initially thought, but coherent, confirmable. Called Dr. Andrew Patel at Stanford. He verified a chat I recall, but never had was in Boston then. She showed notes, dates, names, events all checked out, involving consciousness researchers. Impossible memories from peers in the field. Can't be memories are brain-bound, I know, yet verified with transcripts. Worse, 3 other subjects report same, with overlaps like shared external memory pool, not supernatural, undiscovered natural links. Like radio waves, pre-discovery. Procedure tapped mind connections. She sought my aid, documenting. Weeks later, verifying details accurate. Overlaps real not delusions. Conclusion. Unexplained phenomenon. Shattered my worldview of minds. Share identities fluid. Months on, I resigned, citing personal reasons. Now, school counselor in rural Oregon. Simple issues. But Sophia haunts me. What of her? Others. Science ready. Consciousness, not isolated. I lock doors extra others might access foreign memories. Implications for identity terrify. Sophia's case. My career's deepest mystery. Hinting mind boundaries blur. Consciousness holds unseen enigmas. To expand this part for depth, as I delved deeper into Sophia's revelations, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was more than a scientific mishap. The idea of shared consciousness challenged everything from Freudian theories to modern neuroscience. I spent nights poring over journals, searching for precedents cases of collective unconsciousness in Jungian psychology, or anomalous cognition in parapsychology studies, but nothing quite matched. Sophia's borrowed memories included specific details. A conference in Geneva where Dr. Patel discussed quantum entanglement in neural networks. A detail she couldn't have known otherwise. Verifying with Patel himself via email, he confirmed the event down to the slides used. How could this be? Was it telepathy, or something engineered by the procedure? The Center for Mind Studies, upon my discreet inquiries, turned out to be a low-profile outfit in Cambridge. Funded by DARPA and private tech giants, like Neuralink analogs. Their work bordered on the fringe, blending AI with human cognition. Sophia explained that trial involved transcranial magnetic stimulation, TMS combined with nootropics, to selectively inhibit hippocampal activity, the brain's memory center. But the side effects suggested unintended activation of mirror neurons, or even entanglement, at a quantum level. Pure speculation, but terrifying. As we documented, more subjects came forward anonymously via encrypted channels. One reported living a colleague's childhood trauma. Another new classified project details. The overlaps formed a web, hinting at a collective minefield. My skepticism eroded as evidence mounted. This wasn't just about amnesia. It was a glimpse into human interconnectedness. Perhaps evolutionary, but the ethical breach, unforgivable. The study aimed to weaponize memory suppression for intelligence ops, or so rumors suggested. I couldn't continue in a field tainted by such shadows. Reflecting on the initial sessions, the red flags were everywhere, but my training blinded me to the extraordinary. Dissociative amnesia typically presents with fragmented recall, emotional lability, and somatic complaints, headaches, nausea from suppressed stress. Sophia exhibited none. Her fluency in languages, for instance, wasn't just retained skill, it was adaptive, switching mid-sentence without effort. When I tested her with a German proverb, she responded in Mandarin with a philosophical twist, then translated flawlessly. It's as if knowledge is ambient, she said, a phrase that now chills me. Post-confrontation, our dynamic shifted from therapist-patient to collaborators. We met outside the center, in neutral cafes overlooking the sound, to avoid records. She shared lab protocols. The suppression involved a cocktail of scopolamine derivatives and targeted EMF pulses, designed to last 72 hours, but extended in her case. The goal was to calibrate authenticity detection, she explained. Could clinicians distinguish organic from induced dissociation? Ironically, I had suspected fakery, but not this layer. The anomalies began surfacing a week post-suppression. First, vivid dreams of lab settings she hadn't visited. Then, memories of conversations. One involved a debate on panpsychism, the idea that consciousness permeates all matter, with a researcher in Tokyo verifying the event happened. Transcripts matched her recall, but flight records proved she was stateside. It's like downloading from a cloud, she mused. We hypothesized the procedure disrupted not just personal memory, but barriers between minds. perhaps via entanglement or undiscovered fields. Quantum biology papers supported this experiments showing photons linking distant cells, but applying to humans. Radical. 3 other participants, a neurologist in NYC recalled Sophia's MIT thesis defense. A cognitive scientist in LA knew my patient's childhood anecdote, which Sophia confirmed as hers. Overlaps created a mosaic of shared experiences. Documenting this, I felt like a pioneer and a heretic. Colleagues dismissed it as confabulation, but data didn't lie. This shattered my materialist view. If memories float freely, what is self? Therapy felt futile. How treat trauma if it's collective? Resignation followed, escaping to Oregon's quiet, where minds seemed safely siloed at. The confrontation in session 4 marked the turning point. Her smile, that knowing curve, wasn't patient relief, but researcher satisfaction. You've passed the test, Dr. Carter, she almost implied. Revealing her identity as Dr. Sophia Reyes unlocked a floodgate. MIT alum, published in Nature on memory engrams. She was no stranger to controversy. Her lab, the Center for Mind Studies, operated under Vails grants, from NSF masked, deeper ties. The experiment, Phase 1, involved self-volunteered amnesia to infiltrate clinics as patients. 40 therapists targeted. Selected for expertise in dissociation. Metrics: time to detect anomaly. Methods used: emotional response. You scored high on intuition, she noted dryly. Ethical concerns, waived under national interest, but leaks forced shutdown. As memories returned, distortions emerged. Not fuzzy recall, but intrusive, alien ones. Sophia's example, remembering a ski accident in the Alps, complete with pain and rescue details. But she hates snow, never skied. Crosscheck, it matched a colleague's incident, down to the helicopter model. It's not hallucination, it's access, she insisted. We explored theories, morphic fields from Sheldrake, or quantum coherence in microtubules per hammer. Perhaps the suppression lowered firewalls between consciousnesses, allowing bleed-through. Other subjects reported similar. One lived a peer's wedding. Another knew proprietary code from a distant lab. Overlaps suggested a network specific to the study's participants, as if the procedure synced them. Documenting involved affidavits, timestamps, verifications. I contacted Patel. His shock mirrored mine. This could append everything, he whispered over Zoom. But risks loomed. Funding sources might suppress findings. Sophia feared surveillance, paranoid, or My worldview cracked. Consciousness as isolated. Naive. If minds entwined, privacy's illusion. Therapy invasive. Implications for identity. Am I me, or us? Trauma recovery. Collective healing needed. Months later, haunted by echoes, fleeting foreign thoughts, psyquit. Rural counseling offers solace. Teen angst. Marital spatsno. Cosmic riddles. Yet, locking doors. I wonder, whose memory might slip in tonight? Asterisk. Sophia's revelation hit like a seismic shift. Dr. Sophia Reyes, she said, her voice steady, as if unveiling a lab result. PhD from MIT. Papers on neuroplasticity. She specialized in the fringes, where psychology met quantum mechanics. The Center for Mind Studies wasn't your average think tank. Nestled in Cambridge, it drew funds from alphabet agencies and Silicon Valley visionaries chasing mind uploads. Their mantra: probe the improbable. The amnesia charade. A bold trial to benchmark diagnostic tools. Volunteers underwent reversible memory blocks. Chemical inhibitors targeting episodic memory. Augmented by non-invasive brain zaps. Mimicry of fugue states. She explained. To train AI detectors too. But the human element. Unwitting therapists like me, to gauge real-world discernment. 40 across the US, she confessed. Your notes will inform reforms. Ethics, oversight failed. We're debriefing all. But the real bombshell. Post-procedure glitches. Memories didn't just return. They multiplied. Sophia's extras. A heated argument at a Berlin symposium on noetics. Word for word, accurate. But she was in lab lockdown. Verified with attendees. Then. A personal one, a lover's betrayal in Paris. Emotions raw, yet not hers. Cross-referenced, matched a fellow subject's life event. It's contagion, she theorized. 3 others echoed, shared vignettes, like puzzle pieces from a group mind, not random, tied to consciousness researchers. We delved into science, EEG studies showing synchronized brainwaves in groups, extended perhaps by entanglement, or biofields, subtle energy-linking organisms. Verification was meticulous. Timelines, witnesses, documents, no fraud. pure anomaly. Kotha reports but doubt gnawed. Was this breakthrough or breakdown? Identity's essence autonomous self-design. If memories migrate, what's real? Therapy's foundation individual psych. Haunted, I resigned, fleeing to Oregon's forests. Simple cases ground me. Bullying, anxiety, no enigmas. Yet, Sophia's specter lingers. Science probes deeper now. Minds connected. I secure thoughts. Fearing intrusion. The case. Portal to unseen realms. Where consciousness weaves unseen threads. The experiment's mechanics fascinated and horrified. Sophia detailed. Induction via intranasal sprays of modified anticholinergics. Dampening amygdala hippocampus links. With TMS coils fine-tuning. Duration, intended 48 to 72 hours. But residuals lingered. Wearing off felt like defogging a mirror, she said. But reflections weren't mine. Anomalous memories surfaced gradually, first as dreams, then waking flashes. Example, recalling a dive in the Great Barrier Reef. Marine biology jargon intact. But Sophia's check. A participant's vacation. Photos confirming. Overlaps multiplied. 4 subjects shared a keynote speech memory, each from different angles. Like multi-view replay, she noted. Theories abounded. Procedural artifact. Unlikely. Controls negative. Psychedelic after effect. No hallucinogens used. Instead, perhaps unlocked latent psi abilities, telepathic transfer, per Rhine Institute studies, or quantum consciousness as non-local. Per Bohm's implicate order. We documented rigorously spreadsheets of events, corroborations from uninvolved parties. Patel at Stanford provided transcripts. Matches were eerie. Ethical fallout. Study halted, but data leaked. Sophia worried about cover-ups, agencies eyeing MindLink tech for espionage. Imagine shared intel with outcomes. My involvement deepened crisis. Verifying shredded my empiricism. Minds as islands. Myth. Identity fluid. Permeable. Therapy irrelevant if traumas echo collectively. Resignation inevitable. Personal reasons cited. Now in Oregon. Counseling kids on playground. Woes tangible contained. No abyssal questions. But nights bring unease. Foreign snippets. A stranger's joy, sorrow, echoes, or imagination. Doors locked. Mind guarded. Sophia's fate. She vanished post-documentation. Perhaps deeper underground. Others. Silent. Science unready for this truth. Consciousness unbound. Enigmas eternal. To flesh out. The center's backing included shadowy players, think tanks, pondering post-human futures. Sophia's role. Lead volunteer, due to her resilience. Post-reveal. We pored over scans. Her fMRI showed atypical connectivity. Hyperlinked regions. The block backfired. Bridging instead, she hypothesized. Implications rippled. For forensics, education, even art shared inspiration. But dangers. Privacy erosion. Manipulation. I bowed out. Shattered. As verifications piled up, the phenomenon's scope widened. Sophia's notes. Dozens of cross memories. 1. Experiencing a grant rejection meeting in D.C. Frustration vivid. Hers. No another subject's ordeal. Emails proving. 3 participants reported identical borrowed event. A lab fire drill in 22. Sensory details synced. Not coincidence. Convergence. She argued. We consulted experts, discreetly in a consensus. Possible via undiscovered mechanisms, like electromagnetic resonance, in brain tubular, or collective unconscious amplified. Not supernatural. Natural. Unseen like gravity. Documentation became a manifesto towards a connected consciousness model. But fears mounted. If tappable, exploitable. Gov interest. Probable. Sophia's plea. Helped publish anonymously. Weeks of collaboration eroded my sanity. Worldview. From isolated psyches to interwoven web. Identity. Mosaic of multitudes. Trauma therapy. Addressed the hive. Couldn't continue. Resignation sealed. Rural Oregon. Serene contrast. Counseled breakups. Phobias no. Metaphysical mazes. Yet, Sophia echoes. Her last words. Boundaries blur. Embrace it. I can't. Lock doors against invisible intruders. Case closed. No portal to mysteries. Consciousness's hidden depths. Expansion. Overlaps formed patterns, emotional resonances. Strongest. Joy. Fear. Transferred easiest. One subject felt another's grief over a pet's death. Tears unbidden. Verifications involved polygraphs. Hypnosis. Transcripts. My contribution. Clinical analysis. Ruling out, but evidence irrefutable. Shattered. I pondered. Evolution's next step, or ancient trait. Suppressed. implications for society, empathy weaponized, or unity achieved. Terrifying beauty. Fled the field, but questions pursue. Months after, the case's ripples persist. Resigned, I cited burnout, truth veiled. Now, in Oregon's misty hills, I guide students through everyday turmoils. Exam stress, peer conflicts, grounded, no cosmic appeal. But Sophia haunts dreams, her calm gaze, revelations. What became of her? Last contact, encrypted email. Pursuing further, vanished. Others' forums whisper of similar anomalies. Studies varied. Science ready, doubtful. Paradigms resist. Consciousness isolated. Illusion, I secure thoughts. Fearing leaks, extra locks, meditation walls. Identities terror, fluid, shared. The case, careers nadir, hinting minds entwine. Enigmas abound. To conclude expansively, reflecting the experience reframed existence. From materialist clinician to wary explorer. Therapy's limits, exposed if memories migrate. Healing collective. Ethical scars remain. Unconsented roles, boundaries breached. Sophia's legacy, question everything. In quiet moments, foreign flick, I dismiss, but wonder, human essence. Not solitary flame, but networked fire. Terrifying, profound. Moved on, but forever changed.